Hi everyone, join me today as I paint this whimsical cottage with a moss roof in watercolor. I am going to start with my sketch already inked on the page. You can find the link to the free Traceable sketch reference if you have a look in the description box below. I will also put the link to the Traceable sketch on the screen now. For today's sketch, I'm going to use my Kuretake Art Nouveau and Nuance sets. I like these colors for the whimsical houses because they've got lovely pastel colors in them. And then I'm going to sketch in my Potentate Hot Press Square Journal. The pages are 19 by 19 centimeter, and I really like the deckled edge to the pages. I'm going to start with working on the roof of the moss cottage, and to do that I'm going to work wet in wet. So I'm going to start by using my brush and to put down just clean water over the whole surface of the roof. Then I'm going to pick up a light green color and put that over the top of the house, particularly over the uppermost areas of the roof, and then I'll dapple it throughout the whole roof. Then I'm going to pick up a mid-green and then drop that into the moss roof, starting more towards the bottom of the moss roof and then working it around the whole area, just allowing the two colors to mix. The nice thing with these Kuretake paints is that having sprayed them before I started, they are very nice and soft in the palette, and I'm managing to work with them directly from the palette today and not having to mix them in a side palette. Then I'm going to pick up a darker green color and start at where the moss roof folds over underneath for some shadow. And then once I've got that color down, I'm going to also just stipple it throughout the surface of the roof. I'm just trying to get a little bit of texture and contrast with this color, and I'm just going to allow the green colors to all mix and talk to each other. So whilst my paper is still wet, I can play around with my colors and add some more in wherever I feel it needs it. In my mind, the sunlight is on the top left of my page, so the shadow on the roof is going to be underneath where it folds and then more on the right hand side. But I'm going to use the darker shadow color just to create a little bit of texture and make the surface of the roof look a little bit bumpy in places by putting some shadow underneath where I think the bumps are. Now I'm going to work on the windows. I want there to be a nice warm light coming from inside, so I'm going to start by filling the windows with yellow, and then I'm going to pick up a burnt orange color and put that around the outside of each of the windows. Now I can almost feel the warmth of a log fire inside that's got a pot on top of the fire with a slow cooking stew in for dinner. If you are enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would click the like button. Doing this really helps to grow my small YouTube channel, and it also tells YouTube to share videos like this with other people like you who might enjoy it too. Also, I would love to know where in the world you are watching from. I am a South African living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I have been here for a number of years now. I would love to know where you are from. Let me know in the comments box below. Also, give me feedback on my videos, what you're enjoying and what you would like to see more of. I would love to hear from you. I think the moss roof is dry enough now that I can start working on the wall. If yours isn't completely dry yet or the rocks and pots are still wet, just give it a chance to dry first. But I'm going to put wet water down first and then start with a base light grey colour and dot that in over the entire wall of the cottage. Then I'm going to pick up a greyish brown colour. I'm going to concentrate that colour a little bit more under where the roof meets the wall at the top, but then I'm going to dot it throughout the wall to get a mottled effect. I want to get a little bit of shadow, so I'm going to pick up a shadow grey colour and just put that underneath where the roof meets the wall. So now I'm just going to continue building up the colours on the wall here. I'm going to add a bit more grey to get a bit more shadow colour and contrast under the roof. I'll dot that around the wall of the house as well, just to get a difference in colour. I'll pick up that greyish brown again and increase the consistency of it and put it underneath the roof. I'm looking to get a bit more of a shadow effect, and if I want to add more shadow in an additional layer, I can do that. But for now, I'm just going to use my colour in a thick consistency and see how much difference I can get underneath the roof there. I'll rinse and dry off my brush and help the colour to blend. And then whilst I'm at it, let me put some colour on the chimney as well. I'll try and get a little bit of a three-dimensional look as well as a bit of texture and shadow on the chimney by adding a little bit of a different colour. And now I'm going to let that dry. That's completely dry now, so let's get on to the next layer. I want to get a bit of a rounded look to the chimney, so I'm going to put some darker colour on the outside. I'll also colour in the bricks using different colours just to get some variation. So I'll do the bricks on the wall of the house as well as those surrounding the door and windows. Because the colours are similar, let me use some of the same colours for the remaining rocks that I haven't done yet. And I'll use a greyish beige colour to do the outside of the window and a terracotta colour for the step. I'm going to put some darker colour in just to get a bit of variation, but I'll come and put some deeper contrast for that shadow in an additional layer. And then I'm using my medium green for some of the stalks and foliage in the pots. I'll use some darker green just to get some contrast in the center of the foliage. And just darken some shadow inside the middle there. I'll take that same burnt orange color and just do the center of my flowers. And then I'm adding some color to my butterflies. Let's do the ground now. I'm going to work wet in wet again. So I'll put some water down and put some of the light green color down first. The water helps it to blend nicely. Then I'll pick up that darker green and I'm going to start at the base of the rocks to get some shadow. And then I'll just use my brush to blend the color throughout. And then use whatever bright colors you want to finish off your flowers. Let's go on to the sky now. I'm going to work wet and wet, put some water down first, and then I'm going to dot in the blue color for the sky. I'm not doing an even wash here. I'm dotting it throughout so that I get an uneven wash for the sky. Then I'll do the little paving stone. Now that it's completely dry, what I do in this layer is completely optional. What I've got here are watercolor pencils. They are pencils that you put down normally as pencil crayons, but then you can activate them with water to intensify their color. I find that it's sometimes easier to work with watercolor pencils to get some accurate lines in smaller areas, and so that's why I'm going to use it in this painting. But if you haven't got watercolor pencils, then you can do exactly what I'm doing, but with watercolor paint instead. I would suggest if you're going to use watercolor paints, just have a look at the process that I do with the watercolor pencil, right up to the point at which I add the water as well, because that's where the color will really activate and intensify. And then once I've done that with the watercolor and the watercolor pencils and the water, you can then get the same effect using your watercolor paint in your own time. If you are enjoying this video and you would like to make a donation to me, you can do so on my Buy Me a Coffee platform. I will put the link in the description box below as well as on the screen now. I'm sure you can appreciate that making tutorials like this along with the traceable sketch reference is an immense amount of work, and I appreciate any and all donations. If you have made a donation, thank you. So I've put all of my watercolor pencil down now, and now I'm going to activate it with water. So I'm just going to get my normal watercolor brush, put some water on it, not too much because I don't want the color to spread too far, but then I will use my brush to activate and blend the color. You can see how nicely the colors do intensify when I add the water to it. You can also see though at the stage when I add the water that you could get the same effect if you were using your watercolor paints. So if you are doing this with paint rather than pencil crayon, have a look at what I'm doing now and try and achieve the same result with your watercolor paints. Then I'm going to use my Uniball Signo white gel pen to put some accents in, and then my black pen just to put some shadow under the door handle. And then I'm just adding water to the door and the step, which I haven't done yet. And there's the final sketch. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please hit the like button and let me know what you think in the comments box below. Until next time, bye for now.